Rise again, choosing life beyond the ruins. The ruins are not only in ancient cities or broken walls. They are also in human lives. Each of us, in some season, walks among what has been shattered, the ruin of a relationship once cherished, the ruin of health once taken for granted, the ruin of dreams we once thought unshakable. Ruins remind us of what is lost, and they whisper that perhaps nothing can be built again. And yet, Scripture continually tells another story. It is the story of rising again, of choosing life even when surrounded by ashes. Though the righteous fall 7 times, they rise again. Proverbs chapter 24, verse 16. To rise again is not denial of pain. It is not pretending the ruins are beautiful. It is the act of faith that says, though brokenness is real, it is not final. The prophet Nehemiah knew what it meant to stand among ruins. Jerusalem's walls were torn down, its gates burned with fire, its people discouraged and scattered. Yet in that place of devastation, Nehemiah chose not despair but resolve. You see the trouble we are in, how Jerusalem lies in ruins with its gates burned. Come, let us build the wall of Jerusalem, that we may no longer suffer derision. Nehemiah chapter 2, verse 17. Ruins did not paralyze him. They became the very ground from which hope rose. What does it mean to rise again beyond ruins? It means refusing to let yesterday have the final word. It means stepping into God's promises even when the stones of the past are heavy in your hands. It means believing that the same God who raised Jesus from the tomb can also raise life from the wreckage of our story. Think of the disciples after the crucifixion. Their master was gone, their dreams shattered, their courage dissolved. They sat in the upper room, behind locked doors, surrounded by the ruins of hope. But then came the dawn of resurrection. Jesus stood among them and said, "Peace be with you." John chapter 20, verse 19. From the ruins of despair came the beginning of the church. From the ashes of fear came the flame of mission. The ruins of your life may seem immovable. They may stretch as far as the eye can see, but to rise again is to choose. Choose faith over despair. Choose life over resignation. Choose to trust that God is still writing your story. The ruins are not the end. They are the stage upon which redemption begins. So let this reflection guide us. Beyond the broken walls, beyond the ashes, beyond the loss, there is a call. Rise again. Choose life, and discover that the God who rebuilds ancient ruins can also rebuild you. Every ruin carries more than what the eye can see. The rubble of stone or the ashes of broken dreams are only the surface. Beneath them lies the deeper battle, the unseen struggle of the soul. When life collapses, it is not only the outward walls that fall. Fear, shame, bitterness, and despair rush in like invaders, seeking to claim the ruins as their own. This is why the ruins feel so heavy. They are not just reminders of the past, but battlegrounds of the present. The prophet Jeremiah sat weeping over the desolation of Jerusalem and cried, "My soul is bereft of peace. I have forgotten what happiness is." Lamentations chapter 3, verse 17. That cry is familiar to anyone who has looked upon the ruins of their own life. It is not only the external loss that breaks us, but the voice within whispering, "This is the end. Nothing good can grow here again." The enemy of our souls thrives on ruins. He does not always attack with swords or flames. More often he attacks with lies. In the wilderness, he tempted Jesus with half-truths, bending Scripture to sow doubt. In our wilderness, He does the same if God loved you. Why did he let this happen? If you mattered, would your life look like this? If he were near, would not the ruins be rebuilt already? These are the whispers that echo in desolate places. But ruins do not only invite lies, they test foundations. When the storm strips away everything, what remains? Jesus told a parable. The rain fell, the floods came, and the winds blew and beat on that house. But it did not fall, because it had been founded on the rock. Matthew chapter 7, verse 25. The ruins expose what we were building upon. They reveal the sand beneath our feet, and they invite us to rebuild on rock. And yet even in the ruins there is a flicker of hope. Jeremiah, in the same lament that mourned devastation, declared, "But this I call to mind, and therefore I have hope. The steadfast love of the Lord never ceases. His mercies never come to an end. They are new every morning." Lamentations chapter 3 verses 21-23. Notice, he did not wait until the ruins were cleared, until the walls were rebuilt, until joy had returned. He spoke of mercy while still surrounded by broken stones. This is the mystery of hope. It does not deny the ruins, but it rises among them. Hope is not the absence of sorrow, but the refusal to let sorrow write the last chapter. To rise again beyond the ruins is to look at the devastation with honest eyes and still say, God is not finished. His mercies are new. Even here. What does this mean for you today? Perhaps you sit among ruins of your own family broken. Health failing. Dreams dashed. You may feel as if nothing can stand again. Yet hear this. The unseen battle is not only against what you lost, but against losing your faith. The ruins test you, but they also invite you. Will you let despair claim them? Or will you choose to believe that mercy is new even here? The unseen forces want the ruins to remain lifeless, but the Spirit of God breathes even over dry bones. Ezekiel once saw a valley filled with bones, very dry, lifeless, and forgotten. Yet when the breath of God entered them, they stood as a vast army. Ezekiel chapter 37, verse 10. If he can bring life to bones, can he not bring life to ruins? So rise again, not because the ruins are gone, but because God's Spirit is greater. Choose life beyond the ruins, and let hope take root where despair once grew. To rise again beyond the ruins, we need more than determination. We need vision pictures of grace that carry us when our own strength falters. Scripture gives us such images, timeless metaphors that speak not only to the mind, but to the heart. The flame, even in ruins, a single flame can burn. Israel once thought its light extinguished during exile. Yet God preserved a remnant. Isaiah declared, "A bruised reed he will not break, and a faintly burning wick he will not quench." Isaiah chapter 42, verse 3. That verse speaks to every soul surrounded by rubble. If there is even a flicker of faith, God will not snuff it out. He will breathe on it until it glows again. The flame in the ruins reminds us that hope is never fully gone. It waits to be rekindled. The river, where ruins stand, we often see only dust, but Scripture describes streams flowing in the desert, rivers in the wasteland. Behold, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs forth. Do you not perceive it? I will make a way in the wilderness and rivers in the desert. Isaiah chapter 43, verse 19. The river is the promise of life, where none seems possible. It teaches us that ruins are not final, they can become the soil from which God brings forth something new. The doorway. Ruins feel like endings, yet within them lies a doorway. When Jerusalem's temple was torn apart and the people scattered, the doorway of exile became the path to deeper covenant. Jesus himself took ruins, the ruin of a cross, and turned it into a doorway to resurrection. He said, "I am the door. If anyone enters by me, he will be saved and will go in and out and find." Pastor John chapter 10, verse 9. The ruins are not a closed wall, but a threshold. Through them, if we walk with him, we enter into new life. The homecoming. Every ruin stirs in us the ache for home, for restoration, for wholeness. Israel longed for Jerusalem rebuilt, for temple worship renewed. We too long for the home where tears are wiped away and sorrow is no more. John's vision in Revelation assures us of this. He will wipe away every tear from their eyes, and death shall be no more. Neither shall there be mourning, nor crying, nor pain any more. Revelation chapter 21, verse 4. The ultimate rising again is not only rebuilding here, but entering the eternal home where no ruins remain. These images: the flame, the river, the doorway, the homecoming are not abstract poetry. They are anchors for the soul. They remind us that ruins are not the last chapter, but the page upon which redemption begins. So ask yourself, what flame still flickers within you? Where might God be carving a river through your desert? Which doorway lies hidden among your ruins, waiting for you to step through? And does your heart not long for the home where every ruin will be mended? To rise again is to answer these questions with faith. It is to let the images of Scripture fill your imagination until hope becomes more real than despair. The ruins remain, but the story they tell is being rewritten by the hand of God. There comes a moment in every story of ruins when the choice must be made. Will we sit among the rubble, or will we rise again? That moment is not about ignoring grief or pretending that nothing was lost. It is about deciding that the ruins will not have the final word. The turning point often begins quietly, after the exile, when the people of Israel returned to a broken Jerusalem. They did not have strength enough to rebuild everything at once. Yet they began with the altar. They set the altar in its place, for fear was on them because of the peoples of the lands, and they offered burnt offerings on it to the Lord. Ezra chapter 3, verse 3. The city lay in ruins, but worship rose first, and from worship came courage. From courage came the laying of stones. From stones came the rebuilding of the temple. Hope often begins this way: small acts of faith among the ruins, tiny seeds that grow into restoration. Think of Peter after his denial. His failure left him in ruins. His confidence shattered. His loyalty questioned. Yet the risen Christ met him by the sea. 3 times Jesus asked, "Do you love me?" John chapter 21, verse 17. With each answer, Peter rose a little higher beyond the ruins of shame. His failure was not erased, but it was transformed. The ruins of denial became the foundation of his calling. Feed my sheep. The same pattern appears in our lives. God does not promise to sweep the ruins away in an instant. He promises something better, to build upon them. Isaiah spoke of those who would raise up the foundations of many generations. You shall be called the repairer of the breach, The restorer of streets to dwell in Isaiah chapter 58, verse 12. Notice the language. Repairer, restorer. Redemption is not only about escape, it is about renewal. For us, the turning point begins when we choose trust. Trust that the flame will not go out. Trust that the river will carve a way. Trust that the doorway is open. Trust that the homecoming is sure. Each act of trust is a rising. Each prayer whispered in weakness is a stone laid in hope. Each moment of kindness, each step of faith, each verse remembered in the night, these are the building blocks of life beyond ruins. And what happens when we rise? Slowly, light replaces shadow. Slowly, songs return to lips once silent. Slowly, courage strengthens weary knees. The ruins remain in memory, but they no longer define us. They become testimony instead of tombstone. They become witness to the God who raises the fallen and rebuilds the broken. What does this mean for you today? It means the ruins you face are not permanent prisons. They are places where God is already at work. Perhaps you feel too weak to rebuild, then begin with the altar. With worship, perhaps shame silences you, then listen for the voice of Christ asking, "Do you love me?" Perhaps fear binds you, then recall the promise. The Lord is near to the brokenhearted and saves the crushed in spirit. Psalm chapter 34, verse 18. The turning point is not tomorrow, not when the ruins are cleared, but today. Even now you can choose. Rise again. Choose life, and trust the one who makes all things new. We have walked among the ruins. We have listened to their silence, felt their weight, and faced the whispers that say life cannot return. Yet we have also seen the truth. Ruins are not the end. They are the ground where hope begins, the place where God's promises meet our pain, the very soil in which redemption takes root. To rise again is not an easy command. It is a choice made daily, sometimes with trembling hands and faltering steps. Yet every choice is met by the strength of God. The psalmist declared, "The Lord upholds all who are falling and raises up all who are bowed down." Psalm chapter 145, verse 14. To rise again is not only about your will, it is about his upholding hand. Look back on the stories we have traced. Nehemiah, who chose to rebuild the walls of a broken city. Peter, who chose to step beyond the ruins of his denial. The exiles, who chose worship before walls. Each of them discovered that the ruins were not the final word. God was, and his word was life. So too with us, the flame still burns. However faint, the river still flows. However hidden, the doorway still stands open. However narrow, the homecoming still awaits. However distant it seems, these images are not only metaphors, they are promises. They remind us that the God who raised Christ from the dead is the same God who calls us to rise again. What does this mean for you today? Perhaps your ruins are personal, a loss you cannot undo, a failure you cannot forget, a grief you cannot carry alone. Perhaps your ruins are global, a world divided, a culture fractured, a future uncertain. Whatever the ruins, the promise remains. God is still at work. His Spirit still breathes life into dry bones. His mercy is still new every morning. His Son is still the resurrection and the life. So do not let the ruins define you. Let them remind you, remind you that even here, even now, you can choose life. You can rise again, not because the ruins are gone, but because Christ is risen. Because I live, you also will live. John chapter 14, verse 19. And one day, the rising will be complete. The ruins of this world will be no more. The new Jerusalem will descend, radiant and whole, and God will dwell with his people. Behold, the dwelling place of God is with man. He will dwell with them, and they will be his people, and God himself will be with them as their God. Revelation chapter 21, verse 3. On that day, every ruin will give way to glory, and every scar will shine as testimony. Until then, rise again, choose life, and walk beyond the ruins into the hope prepared for you. Thank you for joining this reflection at Echoes of Lewis. If these words have encouraged your heart, I invite you gently to stay with us, subscribe, share, or return again so that together we may continue to seek the light of redemption. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May he lift your head above the ruins, strengthen your steps as you rise, and guide you toward the home where all things are made new.